Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Atlas. In today's video we will be talking about the latest news for Bitcoin as well as XRP, and we'll be diving into the charts for Orchid and XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the graph, looking at some of these key ones that we have been looking at recently and seeing what's exactly going on here. Some interesting stuff just happened. I'm actually recording this video a little bit later than I normally would, and it's kind of ironic timing with what happened here. So interesting. We're going to go into the news. First off, guys, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe to stay up to the date for the latest cryptocurrency news and technical analysis. And if you can, hit that like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes on this video. Really helps us out in the search and discovery and trying to grow this community. And click the bell icon so that you actually get alerted whenever there's a new video. All right. So first thing I actually want to show you guys is an interesting little trend or Google trend here. So if you take a look, you can see that the search for Bitcoin on a worldwide perspective in comparison to the last 5 years is still quite considerably lower than the massive rally that took place back in 2017. So just from a level of interest wise across, sorry about that alert. So in interest wise, in comparison to back in 2017, that's weird. I don't know if my alerts are messing up. Hopefully it doesn't do it again. It did do it again. Why is it doing that? Okay, now it shouldn't do it. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Getting followers on my other channel. And so looking at this right here, you can see that we still have a ton of ways to go just as far as the level of interest goes. You're hitting new all-time highs, but a lot of people aren't even still really talking about it that much. And you're going to see more and more people beginning to talk about it because of everybody making profits, right? And everybody wants to try and make these profits. You're seeing athletes starting to step forward, as what we saw Russell Okung, who we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. And yeah, it's just kind of painting a more broader picture on like a 5-year perspective. If you just take a look at the last year, we are at the apex in comparison to the rest of the year, but the year is almost done. So it's kind of ironic that like the level of interest of people searching for Bitcoin is that tipping point for the end of 2020, right? Next bit, let's go ahead and move over, is in regards to Bitcoin asking whether or not you should buy or sell now in this article. This guy, just in his own opinion, what he's specifying here towards the end, he said, unless there are fundamental arguments for a dramatic downturn in the US dollar or dramatic downturn in US stocks and bond markets, Bitcoin doesn't have an immediate compelling reason to buy and buy higher right now. And if the US stock and bond markets do take a big drop, such as what happened in February through March of this year, Bitcoin will likely drop as well. Everyone wanted or needed the actual cash, and that sent the US dollar soaring for that same time period. Remember that 46.11% drop in Bitcoin for that dark time this past February, March, when the US dollar soared by nearly double digits as measured by the Bloomberg US dollar index. Well, one thing I want to specify is first off is that Bitcoin is a non-correlated asset. It is not directly related to gold. It's not directly related to the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the United States dollar. There's not a direct relationship saying that when this one goes up, Bitcoin goes up. When this one goes down, Bitcoin goes down. There are times where it will mirror and do the same thing, and there are times when it will deviate and go in opposite directions. So Bitcoin is in its own category. It is its own cat in that regard, right? And then the second thing I want to point out too is that there's actually multiple factors that took place back in the February-March period. For one, you got a lot of institutional investors who have been investing into Bitcoin. So yes, in that regards, when people were pulling out of stuff from the stock market, people were also pulling away from gold, and they were also pulling away from Bitcoin. A lot of people wanted to have cash on hand, like what they're talking about. That is a factor that led towards a partial decline. Substantial declines that took place that really fed into the 46.11% of Bitcoin's price actually came from a scam that was called the Plus Token scam, and that happened before all of this. And what happened during this time is they actually put onto the exchanges a large amount of Bitcoin. So you're overflowing the market with new Bitcoin, right? So it devalues the price per Bitcoin because it's now way easier to get them. Since then, just so you guys know, in case you didn't know, the people associated with the Plus Token scam have now been arrested, and all of those Bitcoins that were associated with the Plus Token scam have been confiscated by the Chinese government. In addition to that, there were hackers that went into one of the exchanges. I believe it was BitMEX. It was either BitMEX or Trex or Bit something, right? But I believe it was BitMEX. And what they did is they had altered some of the code prior, and they were trying to flood the website with like a search term. And so when they saw that the stock market was going down and Bitcoin was starting to go down in price too, they wanted to overwhelm the website, and that's what they did. And so a lot of people were getting liquidated, and the price was dropping dramatically because of this. A lot of people couldn't access their books because of how overwhelmed the website was with these query searches, right? And so what that ended up causing is the website decided to like temporarily basically shut down their website. And it's theorized that if they did not do that, that Bitcoin could have potentially have gone to zero. It's a theory that's been thrown out there, but it's a theory nonetheless, right? So you take those three factors together, and that substantiates a 46.11% drop. To say that it's simply based on the fact that investors were taking out their money because they want to have cash on hand, that's not a logical response. And to identify anything with just one thing, I think makes it way too simplified. There's always going to be more to these things, right? So it's cumulatively, and the industry spaces are going to be reacting in their own specific ways. And as I've just clarified, Bitcoin is a non-correlated asset. So that's one thing I want to point out. So a lot of interesting points from this guy, but some things I do disagree with. This is over on investorplace.com. Next up, Bitcoin continues to set records. Why prices can keep going higher, according to this article. It says from David Grilder? I don't know how to say that guy's name. Conditions are in place for a continued rally in cryptocurrency prices over the course of the next year. Greider wrote, we remain bullish and are raising our Bitcoin price target from $25,000 to $40,000, while again noting that we recommended investors seeking to add exposure should favor pullbacks given the recent run and corresponding higher valuations. Given the recent run, some might look to take profits, Greider noted, which could slow or reverse the rally. Other bumps may be ahead, such as potential regulatory actions and other new cryptocurrencies. We wouldn't view these events as long-term negatives for Bitcoin, but if such events unfold, they may negatively impact broader market sentiment and prices, Greider added. Excuse me. Bitcoin sets new all-time high above $28,500. It actually went above $29,000 as of the time of me recording this video. And right now it's actually $28,583. So it's pretty close with this massive pullback. You know, we just had a massive pullback to this price range. Bulls back in the driver's seat. Institutional investors are perceived to be driving the record-setting run. Among them, Anthony Scarabucci's Skybridge Capital. They did $25 million in December. You got Mass Mutual, $100 million from them in December. Guggenheim up to 10% of its $5 billion macro fund. The other statements that they said in here, interestingly, is what they've also said in a previous article. So I'm not even going to really reference those. They're just repeating the same kind of facts that we're hitting higher and the same potential contributing factors. Next thing, you got Russell Okung. This is the guy from the NFL, and apologies if I'm saying his name wrong. The Carolina Panthers offensive lineman agreed to have roughly $6 million of his salary diverted to mobile payment company Strike to purchase Bitcoin investments. With the cryptocurrency's price regularly reaching new highs, other pro athletes could be triggered to start investing in Bitcoin. He said previously, pay me in Bitcoin, and then just recently, he finally said, paid in Bitcoin, right? So it took a couple years for that to come to fruition for him, but it was able to pull it off. It's a nice little statement here from him, but one of the things that people are talking about is that more athletes might be coming into the equation because of this. There's a little bit of back and forth I was seeing. I don't have the reference in front of me, and I do apologize about that, guys, but yeah, other people that are athletes are kind of starting to pique their interest and look into it a little bit more. According to Russell, he said, money is more than currency, it's power. The way money is handled from creation to dissemination is part of that power. Getting paid in Bitcoin is the first step of opting out of the corrupt, manipulated economy we all inhabit. Very well and eloquently put. I think this guy is very wise and smart, and the fact that he made it to the NFL, obviously he's very good at football too. Then next up, High volume surge propels Bitcoin price to a new all-time high at $29,000. We actually passed it. But here's just another website, investing.com. Not much to really talk about on this, but the fact that more websites, more articles, more people discussing it, all very good news in that regard, right? More media attention. Next up is from Business World. Bitcoin hits all-time high above the United States dollar $29,000 mark. Later sinks below this level, says trading data. So later sinks, right? It made it sound like it already happened and kind of did. But what's funny was right after this article, Bitcoin had gone back up past $29,000 and was at that $29,200 range only up until just a little bit ago before it decided to want to have that drop again. Another interesting point that they said in this very short article is that Bitcoin, as far as cryptocurrencies go, in their reference, it's approximately 70.5% of the entire global cryptocurrency world. So you think Ethereum, Cardano, Yearn Finance, all these other ones, and how much money that they all together compile and build. It's estimated that Bitcoin by itself accounts for over 70% of that market. That's a substantial claim on that space, right? Now going up to XRP and the latest news going on with this, with the lawsuit. The first court date is set for the SEC lawsuit against Ripple. This is going to be taking place on February 22nd. Is heading to virtual court on February 22nd, according to legal documents filed in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of New York. The majority of our customers aren't in the U.S. There are clear rules of the road for using XRP in the UK, Japan, Switzerland, and Singapore, the statement said. We will defend our company and look forward to settling this matter in court to finally get clarity for the US crypto industry. The SEC also said in the filing that an international law firm told Ripple that it wasn't likely that XRP could be considered a currency because it's not backed by a central government and therefore not legal tender. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Excuse me. Now let's go ahead and go take a look at the charts. So looking at it on the daily, here we are about an hour and 40 minutes into the new daily candle formation. It is 5:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as of the time we were recording this video. And looking at this position, you guys can see that there was a substantial drop that had taken place, especially off of that high in such a short amount of time. And how exactly did this play out? Well, let's go ahead and go into the 4-hourly chart. Okay, well, we're only an hour and a half, and so, it's not going to be in that position. Well, look at that. The first hour, everything was looking pretty good, right? Then it started to pull back, and as that new hour formation came in, this was just a massive drop. And let's look at it even shorter. That's a 15-minute chart. From 15 minutes right here, we actually went from a peak of 29,325 all the way down to 28,159, right? We're talking about over $1,000 price drop in a 15, 30, 45, 1 hour time frame. In fact, most of it occurred within this piece right here. Even on that position there from 29,198 all the way down to 28,179. You get $1,000 price difference right there, right? In just 15 minutes. You look at it in the 5-minute chart. You can see here's where the 3 5-minute candles came and took place. Volume increasing on each instance here. That massive final drop saw some pullback as people began to buy up and fight within the next 15 minutes. And now things are going a little bit sideways. But holy cow, talk about a huge, huge dump in that short little amount of time. Let's go back to the day charts here. So right now, a key level of support is definitely going to be down here on this line. And this is stabilized at $26,600. Furthermore, the more immediate position that we need to be concerned about is from the previous day, which that is right around 27,288. I'd actually be looking more, a little bit of a consolidation in this space right here. We got right around the median zone there. And so 27,454, I would actually look at that first. So 27,454 is a bottom. Then 27,278. Not as much substantiated. Much more substantiated. It's going to be right around here at the $26,622. And a significant drop would be down to $24,193. Just like a massive plunge right before the new year, right? And at the peak, we did hit just right around $29,300 here. A little bit above it, it looks like. Can break into $29,500 range. That final stretch to $30,000 could be very interesting. More than likely, there will be some selling pressure at the $30,000 range, and it might be a significant amount of selling pressure. So if anything, we decide to go sideways from here, being so close to the 30K mark, some up and down action for a bit, you know, a week, 2 weeks, something like that, could substantiate a lot more a further continuation on, as it wouldn't be so much as considered as overbought at that point in time. Do keep in mind that this massive amount that just took place was in a very short amount of time. So if people want to accumulate now and acquire more Bitcoin, this could be a really good discount. We're not talking about just a little drop. That was a significant drop that took place. And so the price had declined quite a bit, but demand is continuing to go up. And this is why Bitcoin is such a unique individual, because we have a massive increase in the world of adoption for this. So it's hard to compare it to some of the regular things that we've seen in the last 50, 100 years. This is so new, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. We're going to move pretty quickly in all these other sets. We're just looking at base zones on all this stuff, right? Ethereum in the red on the daily candle, but it did have another green position here, and it's been a lot of green days. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a full week of being positive. It's still above $700 right now. If it drops down to $700, that is a level of support. Further down below that is going to be at $675. A further decline down to the 21 EMA would be at $653. Right now it needs to break above the previous day high at $760. If it can manage to do that, then at around the range of $834 is going to put it on that level comparable back to around the shoulder periods that we saw with the last major rally back in the 2017-2018 period, right? And then obviously the peak is going to be around $1,430. So it's still got a ways to go as of the moment, showing some signs of being red. We'll have to see how things continue to play out throughout the course of the day. Next up, let's go ahead and take a look at Orchid. Looking at Orchid, Orchid closed out in the red yesterday. Another further drop down, although very slightly in the red. You can also see here that there was a massive wick, which seems to be very typical for Orchid. Pump and dump, pump and dump, pump and dump situations all day, right? Anytime it looks like it's starting to rally up, there's somebody that's there ready to dump it right back down. So very interesting to see that happen so much. We are still within this new symmetrical triangle, which I had shown just previously as a new formation, more substantiated than my previous symmetrical triangle pattern. A lot of sideways action as this tends to go, and then when it decides to move, whether it be down or up, it gets very violent very quickly, and it is a lower market capital coin. Do keep in mind that it is on a lot of the major exchanges now, and they're at about 500 million for their circulating supply. So their total supply is 1 billion, about half the way there. Most of the initial coin offering positions that were taking place, the SAFT, I think is what they're called, all that stuff, it's been taken care of. So the production rate's going to slow down a lot more. And we're starting to see on some of the exchanges like OKEX, where you can start to do staking. So it's going to be interesting seeing how this progresses out in the future. Right now, it got that bounce off of that support line. This is a new daily candle formation. I didn't even change this graph, so the fact that it bounced right off of that shows me that this is a lot more substantiated. That's at 22 cents, 0.2264. If it decides that it wants to drop down further below that, that's actually going to break below this level of support, and then I would have a major concern around 21 cents. As we saw a bottom take place on December 23rd. Anything below that is really getting into unusual territory zones, right? So like over here, you can see there was some previous consolidated movement taking place between two zones here. So that's 19 cents or 0.1956, and then a very bottom at 16 cents or 0.1631. Slurring my words a little bit. I try not to do that for you guys. Try not to do it for myself either. And again, if you guys are enjoying yourselves, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes, and click the bell icon so you know when we have a new video. This decides that it wants to go back up. Breaking into this consolidated space is going to be key around 24 cents or 0.2433. Then hitting that 21 EMA at 0.2472. Then breaking above the level of resistance at 0.2550. And then entering into that other consolidated space, it has to go even further all the way up right around 32 cents for it to actually have a more substantiated position on that Fibonacci retracement ever since the dollar range, right? We've been steadily declining down this. Next up, let's go ahead and look at graph, and then we'll finish up with XRP. So looking at graph very briefly, we don't have a lot to reference here, so it's hard to do any kind of accurate technical analysis, unfortunately, at the moment. So we're looking at just main standard points of reference here. So you can see a lot of pump and dump situations, especially in its initial position, as people started to take profits, and Bitcoin was showing some decline down during that rally. People then started to reallocate their profits into other cryptocurrencies, started to show signs of recovery on December 26th, and then steady decline down in this position here. Not much movement that took place yesterday. We were seeing a lot of things not moving very much. Like, for example, Orchid, we just saw that it barely did anything yesterday. Technically went red, but barely moved at all. Now for the new daily position, Bitcoin had just had this massive drop a minute ago, right? And we're seeing on the charts here that this is down to 36 cents. If it decides it wants to drop down further, I would be looking at right around this range here. Let's actually go and add a line since I don't have any lines on here at all. Just like that. Right around that position there. So that's going to be at 33 cents, 0.3344. I would be concerned about that, largely because we do have 2 points that are pretty validated here. The third position is close, not quite on it. So nearing that position, if it dips down below further than that, then I would be looking at this point. As it is right now, it's starting to look a little bit like it's forming new higher lows. If you take in comparison to December 26th, to that at December 29th, the position on the 29th is higher, and then the 30th is higher, so it does look like it is slightly moving up towards that position, but we'll have to see. We don't have a lot of days of reference off of this, right? It decides it wants to go higher. If it can manage to break above the December 29th position at 38 cents, although it's not very well substantiated, it could have a better run pushing back up into the 48 cent range. There is definitely going to be some resistance at 50 cents because we have 3 points of reference here. My first point of reference with the 38 cent range, it's 1 point. So, I would not really take that into consideration much at all, right? But with where we currently are, just trying to get some movement and getting a little bit of rally going up, I would still keep an eye on it, but it's not very validated. You need 2 to 3 positions to form a trend, right? So most notably would be the 50 cent range. That's going to be hard to try and get past, and then it could have a further rally back up after that. Now looking at XRP. Lastly, XRP. Furthering drop down in the red zone, still above 20 cents though, still holding its position. There's some people that, are very adamant about the idea that XRP is going to come out ahead on this and be totally fine. This is just a temporary moment. It's just temporary pullback. But in the consecutive days, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of closure in the red, and the 7th day in the position so far in the red. Will it continue to drop every single day? That's still yet to be known. We do have some support being shown at 17 cents or 0.1703. Another position as of a further drawback, you could see down here at 11 cents, 0.1132. If it decides it wants to climb back up, this 21 EMA is going to be very important. That's at 37 cents, 0.3736. It's going to be hard to see it not being a pump and dump type situation at this point with the market capitalization going down as tremendously as it is. The lower price point, the fact that you do have a lot of people that are super devoted into XRP, a lot of people wondering if they can try and capitalize on something like this before Coinbase decides that it's fully done starting in January, right? So you could technically still trade this. That's the thing. So I would be really cautious. If you see a massive green wick, and especially if there's no good news revolving around XRP, it's probably going to dump immediately afterwards. I'm not saying it's going to for sure, but looking at all the technical analysis, everything that goes on in this industry space, it's very suggestive that that's what would happen. So I'd be very careful. If anything, if you're looking into buying more XRP, these lower price points could be a golden opportunity, but you're taking a huge risk. So golden rule, never invest more than what you're willing to lose, right? Me personally, if it drops below 10 cents, I'll probably buy some. If it goes down to like a 9 cent kind of range, I think 9 cents would be like the bottom of the barrel right here. You see it dipping down to potentially the 11-cent range. So if it goes anything further down below that, thanks to the negative news that's going on, I think it's possible. Then, it comes out in the news later on. They go and do the settlement. Hey, XRP is right back in the game, and boom. Next thing you know, it's skyrocketing up, and people are making tons of profit. And the people that decided to hold on, they walk away with a profit, right? So either I'm going to lose a little bit of money on this personally, which to me isn't really that big of a deal, or I'm going to come out pretty well on top, and then I could use those funds to then go into other projects, right? And be able to use that as my investing money. I got my savings money, I got my play money, and got my investing money, right? So anyways, that's gonna go and do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes on this video. It'd be greatly appreciated. Every single like helps out a ton. Looks like Bitcoin is starting to rally up once again. Look at the nice little green action that's going on here after those big drops, right? Starting to whoosh, swing its way back up. Sure, a lot of people psychologically want to see a $30,000 Bitcoin before the end of 2020, right? I'm sure a lot of people, just the nostalgia of being able to say, yeah, it happened. It went down to like 3,500 range, and it went all the way up to 30,000, almost a 10x, getting closer to that point in time, right? Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. Click the bell icon, drop a comment down below. Tell me what you thought about everything today. If there's anything I missed, you just want to say hello, all that good stuff. You guys are great, and I'll see you in the next episode.